IXL Section V.15 Power Rule with Rational Exponents. All right, so let's go over first the power rule for exponents. It's something that you should have already seen in your Algebra 1 class, but I'm just refreshing your memory. First of all, basically what the power rule is when you have an exponent raised to the power of another exponent. All right, basically you have two exponents. All you do is multiply them together. So in this example here, it says x to the a power raised to the b power will equal x to the a times b power. Again, you just multiply the two exponents together. Let me say that in Spanish. Cuando tienen un exponente a la poder de otro exponente, simplemente se multiplican los dos exponentes. ¿Ok? Así que, por ejemplo, aquí, como tengo x a la 2 y todo esto a la 3, lo que tengo que hacer es multiplicar los dos exponentes para coger el resultado de x a la 6. All right, if you look at this example right here, x to the second power raised to the third power, all right, all you do is multiply the two exponents. 2 times 3 is 6. That'll give you your answer, which is right here. What I put in between there is an explanation of how that works or why that works, all right? This is your answer, x to the 6th power. And at the end of the day, that's what you need to be concerned with, that you just multiply 2 times 3. But I'm just breaking it down. This says that whatever's inside the parentheses, you're doing it to the third power. All right, so x squared times x squared times x squared. All right, x squared times itself 3 times. And if I further break this down, this is x times x times x times x times x times x. In total, that's x to the 6th power, which is what I wrote here. All right, so I'm just showing you why it works. In math, everything works for a reason, all right? It's not just random. So the quick way of calculating your answer is you just multiply the exponents together. Now, your examples in this IXL are going to be a lot more challenging than this. This is pretty basic, pretty easy, all right? And we don't have time to do examples like this easy. Those you should have done in your Algebra 1 class. All right, so let's look at the examples that we're going to have today. All right, the examples that you're going to have today look like this, okay? I definitely recommend that you pay attention. All right, so here I got this x to the 6th power raised to the power of 3 over 4. So I got two exponents, and I'm going to multiply them together. Yeah, one happens to be a fraction. Big deal. So what? Okay, aquí tengo dos exponentes y lo tengo que multiplicar los dos exponentes. Así que 6 por 3 sobre 4. 6 times 3 over 4. Turn the 6 into a fraction. It's going to be 18 over 4. Okay? Now, notice that it says here, where does it say it? Oh, simplify. It says you got to simplify. All right? So, when I multiply the exponents, I get x to the 18 over 4 power. However, that fraction can be simplified. If I divide the top and the bottom by 2, I get my simplified answer, which is x to the 9 over 2 power. All right. Esta fracción se puede simplificar, la fracción que está en el exponente. Si divido arriba y abajo por 2, me da mi respuesta final, que sería x a la 9 sobre 2. And that's how you would write your answer. Let's look at another example because they get more complicated. All right, look at this example, okay? First of all, what is there? Okay, you see how there's 27? Let me ask you guys a question. I hope you're paying attention. All right, 27. What exponent is with the 27? There's nothing written there, right? If there's nothing written there, you could assume, or it's understood that there's an invisible 1. It's not necessary to write it. But my point in writing that is that this exponent that's out here, you're going to distribute it to that and to this. So when you distribute it, it's going to become 27 to the 1 over 3rd power and y to the 2 over 3rd power. All right, let's look at it again. Okay, I'm distributing 1 over 3 right here. So that's how I get the 27 to the 1 over 3 power. I'm distributing the 1 over 3 to everything inside the parentheses. All right, I'm also distributing it to the y, but the y already has a 2 there. So I got to multiply that 2 with the 1 over 3 to get y to the 2 over 3 power. I'm still not done though, because I got to simplify this part right here. 27 to the 1 over 3 power. Remember, you rewrite it like this. All right, so that's basically get the cube root of 27, and the cube root of 27 is 3. So my simplified answer is going to be 3 to the y to the 2 over 3, 3y to the 2 over 3 power. 3y to the 2 over 3 power. That is my simplified answer. All right, I had to break this down and get the cube root of 27, which is 3. Okay, así que esta es mi respuesta final. Tengo que simplificar todo. Este exponente de 1 sobre 3 lo tengo que distribuir a todos los términos que están dentro de los paréntesis. Así es como cogí 27 a la 1 sobre 3 y la y tiene ya un exponente ahí, el número 2. Así que tengo que multiplicar ese exponente de 2 por este exponente de 1 sobre 3 que me dio 2 sobre 3. Ahora, a la vez que tengo esta respuesta, lo que me falta es simplificar y coger la raíz cúbica de 27 a la 1 sobre 3, que lo puedo escribir de esta forma para coger la raíz cúbica de 27, que sería 3, así que mi respuesta final es 3y 2 a la 2 sobre 3. All right, next example. All right, so again, this exponent out here, I got to distribute it to everything inside every term inside the parentheses. Este exponente lo tengo que distribuir a cada término dentro de los paréntesis. That's going to give me 16 to the 3 over 4 power and c to the 3 over 4 power. Now the c part, I can no longer, it's already simplified. I can't do anything else with it. But the 16, I could break it down further and simplify it further. So when I rewrite it, I'm going to have this. Okay, el 16 lo puedo simplificar. Lo escribo de nuevo de esta forma. And now remember the technique. Do this part first. It'll be much easier. The fourth root of 16 is 2. And now I do 2 to the third power, which is 8. So my final answer is 8c to the 3 over 4 power. All right? Esta es mi respuesta final. Next example. Okay, they get more convoluted, but it's still the same basic concept. Okay, so this 3 out here, I got to distribute it to everything inside the parentheses, to the 2 as well as to the r, and the r already has an exponent there. So first of all, let's distribute it to the 2, and you get 2 to the third power. Now let's distribute it to the r. The r already has an exponent, so I got to multiply those two exponents together. So I'm going to get r to the negative 15 over 6 power. Okay, now there's still a little bit more. We're almost done, but it's not difficult, but I still got to simplify a couple things. 2 to the third power, I could simplify. 2 to the third power is 8. Okay, now this r, this fraction that it has in the exponent, I could simplify it by dividing the top and the bottom by 3 to get negative 5 over 2. And I got one more step left. Look at what it says here. All exponents in your answer should be positive. Here I have a negative exponent. So I got to get rid of that negative exponent by putting the r in the denominator with the same exponent, but that gets rid of the negative in the exponent. So this would be my final answer. This is a really good one to look at because the numbers are really not that complicated, but there are a couple different moves I had to make, all right? So this is a really good example to look at that explains a lot. Okay, so I'll go through it again. This exponent out here, this 3, I'm distributing that 3 to every term inside the parentheses, to the 2 as well as to the r. The 3, when I distribute it to the 2, it becomes 2 to the third power. And when I distribute it to the r already has an exponent there, which is negative 5 over 6. So I got to multiply that exponent, negative 5 over 6 times 3, which gives me negative 15 over 6. Okay, now the 2 to the third power becomes 8. The r to the negative 15 over 6, I could simplify that fraction, negative 15 over 6. If I divide the top and the bottom by 3, I get negative 5 over 2. And the last step is that they want all your exponents to be positive in your answer. So I got to get rid of that negative sign in the exponent, which we already did this in a previous IXL recently. So to get rid of that negative sign in the exponent, I put r to the negative 5 over 2 in the denominator, and that gets rid of the negative sign. And this is my final answer. Ok, así que el 3 lo tengo que distribuir a todos los términos dentro del paréntesis. Ok, cuando se lo pongo al 2, tengo 2 a la 3, y 2 a la 3 se puede simplificar y coger 8. Ahora el 3, cuando se lo pongo a esta R, la R ya tiene este exponente, así que tengo que multiplicar los dos exponentes. Negativo 5 sobre 6 por 3 me da negativo 15 sobre 6. Ok, ahora el negativo 15 sobre 6, esa fracción se puede simplificar. Si divido arriba y abajo por 3, me daría negativo 5 sobre 2. Y aquí dice que todos los exponentes en la respuesta deben ser positivos. Así que tengo que eliminar el signo negativo de este exponente. Y ya lo hicimos en una lección recientemente. ¿Okay? Para quitar ese signo negativo, tengo que poner R a la 5 sobre 2 en el denominador. Eso le quita el signo negativo. Y aquí tengo mi respuesta final. All right, next example. All right, so same thing. Hopefully by now you're getting the hang of it. I'm going to distribute this exponent to every term inside the parentheses, okay? Tengo que distribuir el 4 a todos los términos dentro del paréntesis. So that's going to give me 4 to the 4th power times y to the, okay, I multiply negative 1 over 4 times 4, and that's going to give me negative 4 over 4, which obviously I'll simplify in 1 second. Okay, so 4 to the 4th power is going to give me, let me make sure I don't make a mistake, 4 to the 4th power, 1 second. I did not have my calculator ready, just one moment. All right, 4 to the 4th power is 256. Okay, now the y to the negative 4 over 4, I could simplify negative 4 over 4. If I divide negative 4 by 4, I get negative 1, y to the negative 1 power. Okay, and again, all exponents in your answer should be positive. So my final answer is I got to get rid of that negative sign by putting y to the first power in the denominator. And when it's to the first power, I don't write the 1. So this would be my final answer. Okay, miren mi respuesta final. 4 a la 4 me da 256. Y a la negativo 4 sobre 4, esto se puede simplificar, esta fracción, y me da negativo 1, pero otra vez no puedo tener exponentes negativos en mi respuesta. Así que para quitar ese signo negativo, bajo y al denominador, y eso le quita el signo negativo, y cuando el exponente es 1 no se escribe. Así que ahí está mi respuesta final. All right, next example, I'm going to distribute this exponent to everything. There's 3 terms inside this parentheses. So I'm going to have 32 to the 6 over 5 power, r to the 6 over 5 power, and s to the 6 over 5 power. Out of those 3 terms, the only one I can simplify any further is the 32. Okay, de estos 3 términos, el único que puedo simplificar más sería el 32. All right, so I'm going to get the 5th root of 32 to the 6th power. Remember in the previous lesson I said to memorize what the 5th root of 32 is because it comes up a lot. So let's do that real quick. Okay, la quinta raíz de 32 es 2. Y 2 a la 6 sería 64. 2 to the 6th power is 64. So my final answer is going to be 64 r 6 to the 5th power. Wait, I said that wrong. 64 r to the 6 over 5 power and s to the 6 over 5 power. Let's look at another example. All right, so again, I distribute this exponent to every term inside the parentheses. There's 3 terms inside the parentheses. Tengo que distribuir ese exponente a cada término dentro de los paréntesis. which gives me that. Okay, so the u and the v, I can't simplify it any further, so that's gonna stay like that. But the 16, I could break it down, simplify it further. Okay, solamente 16 lo puedo simplificar más. Okay, so I'm gonna get the fourth root of 16 to the fifth power. Let's first get the fourth root of 16, which is gonna be 2. All right, the fourth root of 16 is 2, and 2 to the fifth power is going to be 32. Again, memorize that 2 to the fifth power is 32. It keeps coming up. So my final answer is 32 u to the 5 over 4 power v to the 5 over 4 power. All right, that's my final answer. All right, so here in this example, I'm going to distribute. And remember, if there's already an exponent there, you got to multiply, okay? Tengo que distribuir este exponente, y si ya hay un exponente ahí también, tengo que multiplicar los dos exponentes. So when I do that, I'm going to get w to the negative 8 over 3 power and x to the positive 1 over 3 power. Now, the only thing left to simplify is I got to get rid of that negative sign in the exponent, okay? Lo único que falta hacer es quitar el signo negativo del exponente. So it's going to be x, my final answer is x to the 1/3 power over w to the 8 over 3 power. All right, this one is similar. Again, I'm going to distribute this exponent to everything that's here. By the way, notice that negative sign. That negative sign means that your answer is going to be negative, because when you distribute this exponent, it's not going to alter that negative sign, okay? Ese signo negativo al frente quiere decir que la respuesta completa es negativo. All right, so when I distribute that exponent, I'm going to have this, and x to the negative 1 over 3rd. Okay, now, really, there's not much to do here except get rid of the negative sign in your exponent. Okay, lo único que tenemos que hacer aquí es quitar el signo negativo de estos exponentes. And I said that the way you do that is put the terms in the bottom, in the denominator, like this and like this. However, what do I put in the top? If there's nothing there, you put the number 1. So this would be my final answer. I know this may look complicated, but if you're paying attention, this is not complicated at all. It's actually quite simple. Okay, esto luce complicado, pero no es complicado. Es bien fácil. All right, let's look at this example right here. We're almost done with these examples. All right, so again, I'm going to distribute this exponent to every term inside parentheses. Estoy distribuyendo este exponente a cada término dentro de los paréntesis. All right, that's going to give me this. All right, so first let's deal with the 8. All right, so first of all, the 8, to get rid of the negative sign in the exponent, you could do this. I mean, I could have ignored the negative sign for a second, but whatever. Just to not confuse anybody, let me do it this way. All right, así que el 8, para quitar el signo negativo en el exponente, lo pongo en el denominador. Podía haber ignorado ese signo negativo por un momento para hacerlo de otra manera, pero no quiero confundir a nadie, así que déjame hacerlo de esta manera. All right, so once it's down here, I got to get the cube root of 8 to the 2nd power. So do it this way. First get the cube root of 8, and whatever it gives you, do it to the 2nd power. The cube root of 8 is 2, and 2 to the 2nd power is 4. All right, so basically the 8 to the negative 2 over 3rd power gives me 1 over 4. You know what I should have done to make it less confusing on this one is I should have done this. At the beginning, just go like this. My bad, I just realized that, but I'm not. It's too late to go back and change it. At the beginning, you could have just done this. Sorry guys, my writing tools are messing up here. That's 2 over 3, 2 over 3. All right, I could have just done this, and then once I got 8 to the 2 over third power, just do this part that's right down here on the bottom, which will give you 4 on the bottom. So my final answer is 1 over 4 x to the 2/3 power and y to the 2/3 power. Ok, debería haber escrito de esta forma primero para no confundir a nadie. Primero quitar los signos negativos poniendo todos estos términos en el denominador. Y después, lo único que simplifico aquí abajo, lo único que se puede simplificar es el 8, cogiendo la raíz cúbica de 8 a la 2. Así que primero encuentren la raíz cúbica de 8, que sería 2, y después hacemos 2 a la 2, que me da 4. Así que aquí está mi respuesta final. This is a really good IXL, both this one and the previous one. So if you're planning to do good on your next Algebra 1 exam, which has this, I would highly recommend that you do these because they're really going to get you to understand how to deal with all these exponents and radical signs and all that stuff. All right, so we're almost done. I believe I got like 2 more examples. So again, I'm going to distribute this exponent to every term inside the parentheses, okay? Tengo que distribuir este exponente a cada término dentro de los paréntesis. That's going to give me 64 to the 1/3. T to the negative 3 over 3. And u to the 1/3. Okay, now let me first get rid of that negative sign. By the way, what's negative? You know what? What's negative 3 divided by 3? Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. So let me first deal with that. So first let's get rid of that negative exponent. So I'm going to have this 64 to the 1/3 power over t to the first power. I don't write the 1. U to the 1/3 power. All right. Simplifiqué este exponente, negativo 3 dividido por 3 es negativo 1, y le quité el signo negativo poniendo la t en el denominador. Now the only thing left to do is to simplify the 64 by getting the cube root of 64. Lo único que falta es coger la raíz cúbica de 64, que sería 4. It's 4 because 4 to the 3rd power is 64. 4 a la 3 me da 64. So my final simplified answer is 4 u to the 1/3 power over t. Okay, over here, first of all, again, a reminder that negative sign all the way in the front means that your answer is going to be negative. Okay, el signo negativo al frente quiere decir que la respuesta final es negativo. Okay, so I'm going to distribute this exponent to every term inside the parentheses once again. And if there's already an exponent there, I got to multiply. Okay, estoy distribuyendo este exponente a todos los términos dentro de los paréntesis, y si ya existe un exponente ahí, tengo que multiplicar los dos exponentes. All right, so I'm going to get negative s to the negative 12 power and t to the negative 3 over 4 power. Okay, now there's not much left to do. I just got to get rid of the negative exponents. So I'm going to have negative. I'm going to put s to the 12th power in the denominator, and that gets rid of the negative sign, and t to the 3 over 4 power also in the denominator, which gets rid of the negative sign. And if there's nothing on the top in the numerator, you put a 1, and that's my answer. Again, it looks all complicated, but it's not. It's super simple. Don't be intimidated. Just because it looks different or complicated doesn't mean it's complicated. Okay? Esto luce complicado, pero otra vez es bien fácil. Si ponen atención, no es complicado nada, es bien fácil. Okay? Lo único que tuve que hacer es quitar los signos negativos del exponente. Así que puse la s y la t en el denominador, y eso le quita el signo negativo en los exponentes. Y si no tengo nada en el numerador, tengo que poner un 1. Alright guys, that concludes the examples for IXL Section V.15. Again, I highly recommend that you do this IXL as well as the one previous if you have any desire to actually do good on your next algebra exam. This IXL is really going to get you strong at dealing with exponents, okay? Les recomiendo mucho que hagan estos IXLs porque practican muy bien usando exponentes. Así que si quieren mejorar y aprender cómo usar exponentes, tienen que hacer esta tarea, especialmente si quieren hacer bien en la próxima examen que tienen en la clase de álgebra, que es pronto. All right, guys, that concludes this lesson. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next class.